Hello and welcome to another round of Morrowind Community News, where we cover some of the highlights going on in the modding community each month. And in particular, we're going to be taking a look, back at what all happened in September. And as always, you'll find a list of download links and timestamp annotations down below, so you can easily jump around to different headlines here. And our first major headline of the day is that there were about 50 to 53 new Morrowind mods released in September. I'm just a little unsure if a couple of those were maybe, I don't know, re-uploads or not, but anyway, that's down a fair bit from August, which of course, had about 81 new mod releases, and July, which had 60 new mod releases. But such a decline is to be expected right before a major modding competition like Morrowind Modding Madness. The same thing happened in April, and regardless of the number of new mods, there was just a ton of activity in the community during September. And that 50 new mods brings us to a grand total of about 573 new Morrowind mods released so far in 2018, which means we're still very much on track to hit over 700 new mod releases by the end of the year. And also interesting to note, September saw the release of a ton of specifically graphics mods. Probably nearly about half of all the new mod releases in September were graphical replaces of one kind or another, with a ton released by Quirty Quit and Articus Art, as well as a few by Rumiros, and the first new mod released by Sav Rogan since about 2016, with his vanilla-styled body replacer. And now, just real quick before we move on here, let's see how September 2018 stacks up against past years. And in September 2017, there were about 37 new mod releases, and in September 2016, there were only about 39 new mod releases, which means that despite having less new mod releases in August or July, this is still the best September on record for as far back as Morrowind Modding Showcases has been, keeping track of monthly mod releases. And this is actually the 5th month in a row to break a new record, so that's all really pretty exciting. And in other news, September was a pretty slow month for MWSE mods, with only about 2 new releases during the entire month, down quite a bit from the 15 new MWSE mods released in August. Now in comparison, 3 new OpenMW mods were released during the same time period. But on the bright side, this figure includes a modders resource that will doubtless revolutionize Morrowind modding going into the future. I'm speaking, of course, of the skills module by Murlord. This resource makes it possible to implement entire new skills into the game, which work exactly like, all the other skills in vanilla Morrowind. They can be leveled up the same way as vanilla skills by just doing certain tasks, and they also, contribute to your attributes. So leveling them up, will give you a greater attribute multiplier for when you reach a new level. And these new skills even show up in your skills menu, like, everything else. And this is just a really massive achievement, because before, Morrowind skills were hard-coded. You couldn't add new skills with a mod, or at least not with the same functionality. Plenty of mods, like Morrowind Crafting, added fake skills using regular Morrowind scripts that just ran constantly in the background. But they were hard to track, and implementation was always just a bit clumsy. Now though, modders have a much better way of adding new skills to the game, which just automatically function like the skills in the base game. And personally, I can't wait to see what new mods will come from this. And speaking of, Frostwind 1.5 was released in September, becoming the first mod to add a whole new skill to the game. And Frostwind adds the survival skill, which contributes to the endurance attribute, and to which you can just level up by performing a variety of the actions necessary to stay alive in Frostwind, like, chopping down trees, setting up campfires, and all that. And the new Frostwind release can be checked out today on the Nexus, and, we'll be doing an updated look at Frostwind sometime in the near future, since a lot has changed since our last showcase back in May. And moving on to other mod release news, probably the biggest headline here today is for Morrowind Rebirth, with the official release of Rebirth 4.8, which as always, comes with a ton of new changes and features, including perhaps most notably, a complete redesign and overhaul of Ebonheart, that essentially rebuilds the town from the ground up, giving it a more sort of a walled-in settlement sort of vibe, rather than a giant imposing fortress. But also included in the 4.8 release is a new set of 2 expansions and overhauls for the Velothi tombs around Morrowind. And this update covers about a dozen tombs or so, providing new areas to explore and fight through, as well as a new loot to find and new enemies to face. There's also been a ton of new items added to the game, unique artifact replaces, new overhauls for some of the smaller fishing villages in Morrowind, a new banking system, and the groundwork has also been laid out for a new housing and real estate edition coming in the future. And this is a pretty massive update, as indeed most Rebirth updates are, and a lot's been changed or added since the last time. You can find a link to the Morrowind Rebirth page on ModDB down below, where you can, find out more details about what all has been changed here. Now, just regarding updates for other major mods in the community, Tamriel Built released a new update on September 17th, providing a number of, bug fixes for the old Ebonheart release from back in July. Not only that, though, the Tamriel Built team has also released a progress report on their website detailing the level of completion of each region on mainland Morrowind, and also which regions are currently in active development. And also just a bit of information about, each region, their lore, major cities and settlements and all that. And this, breakdown of all the regions is really pretty cool, and I'd recommend checking it out. And as always, you can find a link to the Tamriel Built website and Discord server down below, where you can find out even more information about Tamriel Built and, just keep up with the ongoing developments for this always just exciting project. And next up, there were also a ton of major updates for Fablewind in September, including some pretty massive new additions with the inclusion of Rosewood, a fairly decent-sized region of haunted forests just outside of Bright Lodge, and also a new town, the farming village of Oakfield, one of the big locations from Fable 2. There's also been a lot of other stuff added in, including about 5 interior-based dungeons for you to find in the regions around Bright Lodge, and future updates will include Sunset House, one of the potential player homes from Fable 3, and really there was just a ton of progress on Fablewind in September, and this remains one of the most exciting new, ongoing projects from this year, though you should expect a slight hiatus, going into October, as Tell Shadow, the mod author, will be leading Team Hungry Hungers in this year's Morrowind Modding Madness modding competition, and I'm sure he'll make some, pretty exciting things during the competition with any luck. But anyway, in other exciting news, Skyrim Home of the Nords has started exterior development on the city of Solitude, aka Hafengar, the capital of Skyrim, found in the northeastern part of the province, a ways north of Markarth along the coast. And while, Hafengar probably won't be available to the general public for at least probably a few years yet, you can still check out the progress being made on this impressive-looking city on the Project Tamriel Discord server. And indeed, Rorik has been posting regular screenshots of Solitude on there, which will give you a pretty good idea of what the city is going to look like in the end. And I have to say, it's going to be really exciting to see it develop over time. And in other news though, the team has mentioned that a new update for Skyrim Home of the Nords will be coming out sometime before the end of the year, adding a ton of quests to the city of Karthwasten, including the quest line for the local Thieves Guild, so there's still a lot to look forward to in the near future. And finally, we have just one more major project update. The OpenMW team has posted a progress report on OpenMW 0.45, and some of the highlights here include shadow rendering, and improved battle AI, among, other things, as well as a new progress on the OpenCS, and you can read more about it over at the OpenMW website, and of course, you'll find links down below. And I think that's about everything. Despite being a relatively slow month for mod releases, there's still a lot going on in the community, and I think it's safe to say that we've entered a new modding golden age. But before I leave off here, don't forget that Morrowind Modding Madness is currently ongoing, and we have 7 modding teams composed of 28 modders that are, all competing for the Throne of Madness and to claim the crown of being the ultimate modding champions of 2018. The teams have 2 challenges that they'll need to, face here, and we'll be seeing about 14 no doubt excellent mods over the course of October. So stay tuned and check back on the Nexus often to see what those, modding teams are up to. But anyway, that's, everything for September. Again, there's links down below, including a new online poll for the best mods of September. And stay tuned for a new Mod of the Month video next week. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.